going to work with a piece of eucalyptus, probably about 40 years old. It's dry, it's chippy, not eucalyptus, mahogany. Probably, I don't know, I've had it for at least 30 years now. But it is some real dry, chippy stuff. So I whipped whipped one out, everything except for the knob earlier today, just to try and get myself back in practice of what it looks like. We might do a little something something with the texturing tool. And so what I did with the black here, that's iron acetate. I just wanted to see how that would react with mahogany, and it reacts really, really good. So we may or may not do that. Leave that up to you all. And so with that, so I'm starting with approximately a 4-inch blank. 4 1/8 square. And the lid piece is about 7/8 of an inch. And so we will start that between centers. Already got my centers marked out. Got my little hole punched. And if there's any questions, feel free to say something. I've gotten to where I don't mind it on my part too much. Just be respectful, don't talk over each other. You have a face shield. Hopefully I won't be bumping the camera like I did the last time. And so what we're going to do is first we'll profile the bottom, and then I'll cut a tenon on this side here so I can grip it. And then I'll make a recess. We'll go from there. Of course, the light's gonna white it out, so turn without the leash. And so turning about 1,000 RPMs. Got the tool handle dropped. Using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. And I just want to be careful coming across. Is what I found. Like I said, was being chippy. It started just peeling the wood off because it just being so dry and whatnot. So
Dane, we got a question.
Yep.
When you get a chance, can you walk through the process of keeping the corners pointed?
As in the tops pointed? Just, starting square and being careful with your cuts. But we'll get through it. I don't do anything really special on it per se. If there is a special technique, I wouldn't mind knowing myself. So we're just going to bring this up maybe an inch, something. something or another. Just stop every now and then just to check to make sure we're not chipping out too much. I got a chip out there. Means I got to come up a little bit higher. Almost there. You know what? See if we can change the view of the camera. So it's full screen.
You're making me dizzy.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Somebody just tabbed me off. So. Let me move it down. Sorry. Thought I had this set up.
We can almost see what you got in your pocket.
Right. All right. Does that look a little better?
Looks okay.
Yes, looks good.
Can you spotlight me again, Brenda?
Looks like you are.
Nope. Keep popping off.
Wrong one.
Oh, my cell phone.
Gotcha.
Cell phone.
Second. Nope.
Deli. Z co-host.
It's not giving me the option to.
I got it.
It'll give me the option to pin, but not to spotlight you.
I did it.
Weird. Oh, thank you. All right, so what we're gonna, I got that little chip there, so I just want to, got to bring it up another 1/4 of an inch now. So see if we can get by that. As I'm done, I'm just watching the horizon right on top. Son of a gun, look at that. It worked. How about that? I got a tool mark here. Right at the transition. . stuff be real dusty. All right, so now go back, cut ourselves a tenon. Use the old parting tool. And we want to have a tenon about 45 to 50 millimeters in diameter. I got my 50 mil jaws in. You don't need a big one. It's going to turn away anyhow. So you have a little bit of tool overhang here. So I always try to angle my direction to cut right about 10 o'clock, staying in that position. That way your tool doesn't get sucked under the tenon, and then having it pulled in. Grab the calipers and check. So that's 48. Need to make sure that got my little dovetail on it. Turn the light on so I can see. I'm just going to angle the beading and parting tool here and use it as a skew. Again, I'm still coming in at that 10 o'clock positioning, cutting position. All right, so that should work. Take that off, put it in the chuck. And you don't need to crank it to Oklahoma when you're tightening up your tenon. When you tighten your tenon up too much, that's what leads to a lot of tenons failing and snapping off on your workpiece. So take the elbow pointer off. It's going to gauge the bottom of the existing piece that I was playing with earlier. I'm going to make about a 55 millimeter tenon here. So let's see if we can cut that right the first time. What are the odds?
I got faith in you. You can do it.
So we're Just use the parting tool for that. You don't need a big one. Or I should say, you don't need a deep recess. Just enough for the jaws to grab a hold of.
How deep would you say that is?
I will probably go about an eighth, no more than 3/16. And oh, here we go. We use a Mark Soleil tool. So normally you can use this when you're between centers. The old
That's
number 7 type scraper. So it's got cutting action here. I think it's 7 degrees. And then it's got cutting action on the front. And so this allows you to clean up your recess, especially when you're between centers. And then keep everything nice and straight. And the cutting action is just like a scraper. All right, that should be good.
that tool automatically puts a bevel inside of it?
The dovetail, yes. That's
Yes.
that 7-degree slant on it.
Sweet.
And then so when you're making the recess, where a lot of recesses fail is because they extend so far out away from the vessel. The holding strength of, oh my God. I'll be back.
Smoke alarm's going off again.
Yeah, I gotta disconnect it. I'll be back. All right, so yes, what I was talking about was the strength of a recess comes from the holding power from when the jaws are being expanded out. All the force is coming through the side of the vessel instead of coming straight out through the sides on a properly made recess. So if you got a recess and it's extending out, and then you're setting your jaws in it, there's nothing there to support that wood. It's ultimately it's going to fail. So with that, so I just measured this, and I'm about 1.5 millimeters off. So widen it just a hair. We're just going to make short work of that with a little skew. And of course, it turns out that if I would have marked my initial caliper marks, I would have nailed it the first time. But that's all right. Just come in here, clean it up. This stuff is just turns to dust once you hit it with your hands. It's crazy how dry this wood is. So who wants to try and put a little whirligig in there with the Sorby tool?
I can't reach it from here.
No?
No.
Hmm.
You're on your own.
Okay. All right, so for this pattern, I don't know how well it
Towards you.
towards me. Oh, that's so for this pattern, you hold the tool at approximately 1 o'clock. And then for this pattern, which is typically what you see,
Towards you. Okay.
still can't see it. And then for this pattern, you hold it horizontal to the work to make that multifaceted pinwheel. And then I thought maybe we would try some gilding ink on the finger and see what that would do after we put some iron acetate on it. See what that looks like. Anybody game for that? I've never done it before, so
Just be
Sure.
real light with your finger, and
Yeah.
go over the top of the surface when you do it.
yeah, okay. Good advice. All right, so
No pressure, but Mark Soleil just logged in.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right, so we start this about horizontal. I find about 500. Is the optimal speed with the Sorby tool. Start here, and it cuts like a scraper. So start a little right there on center, and then raise it up a little bit, allow it to cut, and then rotate it out. Look at that. You guys can't see it.
There we can.
Yep.
It worked.
Oh. I couldn't have done better myself.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And so I always keep a handy dandy toothbrush on a magnet. And that'll make real short work of any of the fuzzies. And so get a little paintbrush, a little bit of iron acetate. Apologize for the camera setup being messed up this time. We'll rotate about 160. Just start from the center, pull it up to 10 o'clock. You don't want a big brush because then you're going to load it up with too much solution. Then it's going to drip on your turned item. You don't want that to happen. And so you can see how quick that's going to black.
Is there a way to neutralize the effect so it doesn't get too dark?
I'm not aware of one, Matt.
All right, thank you.
I guess use it on lower tannin woods. I don't know. Yeah, I find cherry works great, mesquite works great. Obviously, I found out that the mahogany works great. Eucalyptus works great. Locust works good.
My oaks have a
Walnut
lot of
works.
my oaks have a lot of tannin in them also.
Yep, yep. And then oaks work really well too. And then for other woods, I know like with ash, it'll give it a bluish, a real light blue, grayish color, or at least that's what it does to Arizona ash down here. So I'm gonna air dry that real quick. And we'll try to light touch with. You want to use gold or you want to try silver?
Gold.
Gold. Gold.
Yeah, do not glob it onto your finger when you do it. Put a very, very thin skin of it on your finger and just very lightly brush the tops of your texture.
Got it. Guess what it smells like? Like vinegar. So I use cleaning solution, cleaning vinegar from Home Depot, and you can buy it in the gallon or the quart jug. It's got 35% more acidic volume to it compared to your household vinegars, and it works extremely well with metal shavings. And what I use for metal shavings is either the filings that come off the CBN wheel. I use a magnet to catch them, or if I'm out, I use mild steel, and I'll just throw it in the vise, take a file and rub some off on it. But since I've been using the magnet trick, I've got a couple prescription bottles filled up with it. So take a napkin here.
Dane, can you use steel wool?
Some people like to use steel wool. I do not like to use steel wool because once you use fine metal dust, you will never go back, and you don't got to clean it. Soak it in acetone, get the oil out of it. So there's your metal shavings, and that's about all you need for an 8-ounce bottle.
Oh my.
And the cleaning vinegar will dissolve that in about 3 hours. And you can sit there with with hot metal. That's what steel wool is. Hot metal. It's not good steel. Your steel wool takes several days to dissolve. And if I'm wrong on that, y'all can let me know that do it. So. All right, so let's see how this is going to work, Matt.
Yeah, typically, Dane, what I do when I do this is I put some of it on like my thumb, and then I wipe a very thin film onto the finger I'm going to do the applying with. And then the finger I do the applying with, I very lightly wipe it across the top.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah, don't be tempted to overdo it because it'll get in the cracks and wreck the look.
Yeah, stuff dries quick.
You know, what brand are you using?
look here a minute. Never done this before. So.
Yeah, I don't usually do it with the lathe running. I turn the lathe off and do it just a little bit at a time and work my way around it, you know, building it. So try that, see if that makes a difference.
You can see the swirls from here now.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
see it happen. Something's happening. Yeah. Is that working better, Dane?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, the thing you got to be careful about is getting it in the cracks, because once it's in there, you can't hardly ever get it out.
Yeah,
So
you're not getting it. Yeah, so I'm doing good. Nothing in the cracks. So.
All right, rock on.
Right. Hell yeah. Chalk that up to a win. All right. So let's clean up and give this thing a border. And let's see, we got a point tool around here somewhere. Yep. It's sitting right where it's supposed to be.
Dane, we got another question. Is it better to apply that stuff in forward or reverse?
Apply what stuff?
Stuff you just put on there.
Well, I
The
guess it
gold
wouldn't
stuff.
matter. Well, I would imagine it would make a difference. I think for this, based on the serrations, you want to go in the direction that the texturing was cut. Because if I went the opposite direction, it would be going against the cut.
Would that be going into the grooves then?
Yeah, well, that's what I think, but I'm not sure because literally it's the first time I've done this by adding embellishing cream or ink to something. And then matte, this stuff is called, it's Dollar Downy or Daler Downy, Daler Downy. Pearlescent gold ink. It's a liquid acrylic.
Okay.
What's the difference between liquid acrylic and acrylic paint?
Nobody knows.
Describe what the difference is. It's thinner, lighter, and more pearlescent.
What, the liquid
Go with
acrylic?
that 'cause I don't have an answer, so let's go with that. All right. Just in case I have to spin this around. I don't think we will. Yeah, I don't even. Oh, there's.
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah, so it's a good effect.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it runs through. How about that? All righty. So now we got it in this orientation. And so now what we want to do is start carving down and then making the little pot that you would put your jewelry in or whatever you want to put in it.
This is the hard part.
Yeah, the hard part is getting in here. Yep.
Yep.
And I've got a skew, an old skew that I ground specifically for that years ago. But well, I just found it earlier, but I don't have a handle for it. So I'm not quite sure what happened to my handle. So we'll muddle through it with the bowl gouge. So once again, you want to be very careful entering in on the square because you got four ends flipping around, and you don't want to chip your wood out. A little too high there. And a little too low for my liking. Let me just clean this up. And I always try to do get the hollow going, the concaveness from the squares here, and work everything down about the same time. We got dust coming in over the wood chips coming in over the mask.
Those look like some beautiful corners right there now.
Yeah, they're good. We just got to maintain them, right? And I'm turning about 1900. I mean, it cuts good, but it's just dust once it lands on something solid. And so once you get about halfway down, you want to start opening up that cove in there between the vessel and the plate itself. That way you've got room to, especially when you're ready to do your final cut, that way you can go from the end and start at the end and end on the base of the pot. So we're about 3/4 of an inch now, so need to go about another half inch. Try and get my tool rest in a little bit here, so I'm not so overextended.
Yeah.
Do what?
Weekend?
Here's somebody trying to say something.
Yeah, it's an open mic.
Oh, okay, got it. Got to be real careful when you're coming in like this, so you don't overextend too far. Because if you do, you're gonna whack one of them corners and you'll pop them off.
That's what I would do.
Yep. And then and again, the key for trying to keep those corners is just being sharp and going in with a very light cut and rotating out. All the cutting motion's got to be with the body. If you do it with the hand right here on the tool rest, you're gonna pull it and break it. I'm gonna take some more of the body of the column off here. Usually keep getting down towards the base. You just take and go back to the saucer side to open up more of it so you can get a little bit smaller diameter. And as you keep doing that, you just switch off. Once you get closer to the inside diameter, you switch off to a smaller diameter bowl gouge or spindle gouge. I'll be switching to a 3/8 here pretty quick. We just go ahead and switch off now. Let's see what it looks like. A little bit more here. Yep. Thought I'd hit that corner a little too hard. Trying to split out on me. Yeah, it looks like I split out the other one too. We can save this guy. And the other one's fixable where that crack was at earlier. Nothing like a little par fix 3408 to the rescue.
You betcha. Ain't nothing like it.
Nope. Let's give that a second to dry. And of course, I took my other bottle of water in the doggone house. Yeah, so it's nice and soft. This little corner here, all I'll do is I'll just take some dust, and work it in with a little bit of CA, and then we'll have a new point for it. So no big deal on that.
Did you have that par fix in a spray bottle?
No, that is the accelerant that I use. All right, so let's now work on the shaft of the vessel here and take it down a little bit more. And again, still using the 3/8 bowl gouge. And I have it sharpened on the Wolverine using the 40 degree jig at 1.75 inches. And that's going to be good enough for government work. There's a crack right there, and there's a crack right there. And so I'm not sure if it's just a flaw and there's a internal knot. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to go any lower on that. And so now we just need to excavate the the inside of the pot. We'll go back to the 1/2 inch bowl gouge. So all I wanted to do was straighten the top off a little bit, because what we want to try and do is when we put our lid on, we'll use some napkin to make a jam chuck, and then make everything nice and concave for it where it fits in nicely. That's the intention. Let's take the gouge and drill in a little bit here. Careful not to drill too far. He's really not sure about that crack down there. See, wood is dummy. And I can't see. Yeah, let's stop. See where we're at. Yeah, we're about right here, so we're good. There's that crack comes right to there. So come in with a round nose scraper. I didn't get the little end piece off there. Start a little, just below the little nub, and you raise your scraper up.
How you gonna sand that whirling dervish?
All right, so that's got that. Somebody said something.
Yeah, I said, how you gonna sand that whirling dervish?
Carefully and gently,
Carefully and gently. That's it.
and with a long stick.
I'm not that bad. So I'm gonna leave my chucking points on so I can make so I can get back to there's my skew that I use. And it's ground specifically for this to be able to come in and pull across. And it leaves an immaculate surface that, you know, even like this, if you wanted to sand, you just put your fingers in there and just be careful. Be very, very careful.
You can wrap the sandpaper around a white 3M pad, which is non-abrasive,
Sure.
and that gives you some padding to protect your fingers too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's I've got a little here, I'll show you the pad that
My fat fingers won't fit in there.
so it's about 3/16, maybe eighth, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch. And you just got the paper folded around it that way. That way you got some meat to it. Okay, so now we want to make our recess for the lid to fit into. And so just pull the handleless skew out for that. And make sure you're cutting straight. We're about an eighth of an inch deep. And so we just go ahead and throw the calipers on that now. Turn it on in case somebody wants to know what this particular one is. It's at 54.5. And so for the body, you're done for the most part, except for sanding. And so now we'll make the lid. And start that between centers. Some wood chips in there. And so all you want to do is kind of rough out the outside diameter of the pot you just made onto the main piece here. And then we'll cut a tenon that will fit the pot that was made with the recess that was just cut. And then you put the two of them together and finish turning the lid. And so a lot of people will say, "Oh, why don't you cut that out round on your bandsaw before you start?" Majority of the time, whenever I do these pieces, I start with one full-on connected block, and then I part the lid off after I get to turning. So in this case, that's the reason why I'm doing it like this. And from being very rough and aggressive right here, the ends are just flying off. Give you a peek, you can see how it just blew all off, which is fine because we're not concerned about them. Bring this side. Try to make a built-in lid. Nah, leave enough meat for that. Not enough meat. Then we'll make our thing mixed up. Just marking out my diameter for the lid tenon. And you'll be tempted to want to make a snap cap fit. That is definitely not required. How many times we got to try this? Oh, so close. How close are we, Billy? What do you think?
I'm not Billy, but I think you're close.
I think you got
Close.
it this time.
I think that'll work.
Woohoo!
How about that? We only need one ply toilet paper.
If it had been me, I'd have made it too loose.
Me too.
Huh? Well, you don't want it tight, that's for sure, because you want to be able to lift it off.
Yeah, but you don't want it sloppy either.
No, no, that's for sure. Yeah, yeah. You definitely don't want it. Don't want it sloppy. Put the base back on. Look at that, it runs true. Piece of toilet paper. Just one ply.
I usually use masking tape.
Do tell, Matt.
Just hold it on with the tailstock, turn it flush, and then tape it. And then you can finish the top bit. I'm sure you're going to do that anyway. So
Yeah, yeah. You gotta shape it to the pot first, and then I'll be using masking tape on the side when I go to drill it. Even though you
good to hear. You soothed my soul on that one, Dane.
I thought maybe you were doing it a different way. All right. Oh, just grabbing some water. All righty. Let's see. And so now this is where we want to go back to taking our time. So we don't want to blow it out. I want to turn my big light off. And then use my light. Oh, got it. All right, so we've come this far. We don't want to blow it up, so be careful. About a 16th of an inch away from the pot top. I've got a negative rake here, grounded about 35 degrees. It seems to work really well in this mahogany. All right. Need some blue tape, Matt.
I'm sure you have some handy like I do.
Ain't got too much. I don't know if I got any more in my cabinet or not. Go look tomorrow. I got to be sparing with it. I think we might have enough meat there to actually make a handle, inclusive handle. No, come on, tape. Work with So that'll hold unless you get a catch.
So don't do that.
Let's see. 1/4-inch spindle gouge. For me, I always like the spindle gouges. I'm always cutting, or I prefer to cut just a little bit above center. It's hard to swing the tool, but you got those little 4 pointies throwing around a couple thousand RPM.
Don't be afraid. They're only going 1900.
Yeah, you're right. It's only 1600 now to look at it.
Oh, 16. There you go. Don't be afraid.
There we go. Right. Turn it up. Turn it up. I meant to put the reactive sound on, that way you can hear the thinness. Kind of tinny.
We can hear it.
Huh?
We heard some of it
Oh, okay.
right there. Humming.
Yep.
Beautiful knot.
Leave out of work. The old tape off. Goodness. Bit of DNA. Believe it or not, that your blue tape, painter's tape, has really good holding power.
Dane, what grind do you have on your spindle gouge?
So any gouge smaller than a 1/2 inch, I used 40-degree Raptor jigs in the Wolverine sharpening setup. And then I initially set the wings on the platform during my initial setting up the tools. So like on my bowl gouge, it's like that.
Too bright.
Now, why my lighting is stuck in the night so bad, it's nothing's changed about it. So I have a real long wing. It's only about a 1/2 inch. But I establish those on the platform grinder. And then from there, I go to the Wolverine with the 40-degree.
It's a beautiful cut.
And then for my 1/4 inch, same thing. It's I established the wings. And then, again, I'm using 40-degree Raptor, the Raptor jig setup. And then I only go in 1.75 inches. I don't go in 2 inches. So it keeps the nose bevel a little bit shorter.
Really?
And then so the only other thing that would be required, I forgot to do here, is to clean off your between the center's chucking point when you're initially profiling here. And all you got to do for that is, have a jam chuck. We've already got one made right here. And you come back in, tape it back up, and peel it off, or take and put it against a sanding pad. So with that, here we are with
Oh, look, it's the face. You see the eyes
yeah.
and the nose? Oh, look at that.
This way.
Great demo, Dane.
Thank you. And again, there's the
Gold on the bottom.
bottom. So maybe when I sit down, put it up on, move the camera over on that side, I'll show you the cracks that got exposed that I was worried about down here. But the base is probably 3/4 of an inch in diameter. But yeah, other than that, I'll chuck it back up, and I will grab my properly ground skew that I use on the inside here to clean up the bottom surface, and we'll get it cleaned up and get some finish put on it and see what it looks like come next week. So with that, I'm gonna bug off here and mute myself so I can get all this dust and wood chips off of me, and I'm gonna go grab a beer. Actually, I'm gonna grab two. So.
Very enjoyable,
I got
Dane.
beer.
Thank you.
But any questions? Any questions from anybody? Sorry.
No, just very enjoyable. That was nice.
Good demo, Dane.
Yes,
I
it was.
appreciate it.
Nice
Appreciate it.
job.
Appreciate it.
Great job.